Today we're going to continue on solving one-step equations like we have been. But today we're going to have decimal and fraction coefficients, or what we call rational number coefficients. You can recall that we have different kinds of numbers. We have whole numbers, which are the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., etc., etc. We have integers, which are all those whole numbers I just mentioned, plus their negatives. And then we have what are called rational numbers. Rational numbers are any number that can be turned into a fraction. So that includes all the whole numbers, it includes all the integers, but it also includes those numbers that have decimal parts and that are already fractions. So today, when we solve our problems, we're going to have rational coefficients. Take a look at example number 1. It says 16 equals 25 hundredths n. If that just said 16 equals 25 n, what would you do to solve that equation? Well, you would say, I would divide by 25 on both sides. Well, we're going to do the same thing, except instead of 25, it'll be 25 hundredths. Now, they're showing you over here on the left how to divide that by hand. You should have mastered this process in 6th grade, where you move the decimal of the number on the outside all the way over, and then you move the decimal on the inside the same number of places. And if you wanted to do this by hand, you can see how that is done right there. But I'm allowing you to use the calculator, so there is no reason for me to demonstrate that now. Like before, the same numbers over here, 25 hundredths divided by 25 hundredths, is going to cancel out and equal 1. So we have 1n, which we just write n, and then 16 divided by 25 hundredths. Now, normally when we divide, we end up with a smaller number. But when you divide a whole number by a decimal, like we are here, you're actually going to end up with a bigger number. The answer turns out to be 64, because it takes 4 25 hundredths to fit into 1. Think of it this way. It takes 4 quarters to make $1. So it takes 4 of these to equal 1. So it's like taking 16 and multiplying it times 4, and you get 64 as your answer. So when you get an answer like that on your calculator, don't assume that you're wrong, because when you divide a whole number by a decimal, you will get a larger answer, not a smaller answer. Let's take a look at example number 2. It says, Jaya's coach agreed to buy ice cream for all of the team members. Ice cream cones are $2.40 each. $2.40 per cone. It says, write and solve an equation to find how many cones the coach can buy with $30. So as we've been doing word problems in this chapter and writing equations from the word problems, I've asked you to first look at each number and decide what those numbers could possibly be. So we might be looking for a total, which would stand by itself on one side of the equal sign. We could be looking for a coefficient, which would be a number that's going to be multiplied times our variable. And we could be looking for a constant, which is a number that's going to be added or subtracted to our variable. And then, of course, we need to find our variable. And in these problems, the variable is going to be the thing that we're looking for. So in this problem, what are we looking for? It says, find how many cones the coach can buy. Okay, so we're looking for C, the number of cones. Now, let's take a look at our other two numbers. It says the cones are $2.40 each, or $2.40 per cone. Whenever you see the words each or per following a number, chances are that number is a coefficient. So our variable here is C, and our coefficient is $2.40. Then we have this $30 here on the end. It says, find how many cones the coach can buy with $30. Does that sound like something we're going to add to the variable, the number of cones? Or does it sound like the total amount in this problem? Yeah, it sounds like the amount of money he has to spend, the total amount. So that's going to be our total, which means it's going to be all by itself on one side of the equal sign. So if $2.40 per cone is $2.40 is our coefficient, we would take 2.4 and multiply it times our variable, and that should give us the amount of money to spend. So $2.40 times the number of cones equals $30 is going to be our equation. To solve that, we would do the opposite of what we see. So we see here multiplication, so we're going to use division and divide by 2.4 on both sides. Like in example 1, 2.4 and divided by 2.4 equals 1, so we're left with C. And then 30 divided by 2.4 is going to give us an answer. But notice, because there is a whole number with this, we should not get a bigger answer. We should get a smaller answer. So in example number 1, we divided by a decimal that did not have a whole part, and we ended up with a larger answer. This decimal does have a whole part, so we should end up with a smaller answer. So we pull out our handy dandy calculator, and I find that the answer is 12.5 or 12 and a half. And then I go back to my problem and I say, find how many cones the coach can buy with $30. How many cones can the coach buy? Hopefully you didn't say 12 and a half or 12.5. Hopefully you said the coach can buy 12 cones, because I don't know of any ice cream store that's going to sell you half of a cone. Now we are ready to go on to the second video, solving equations with fraction coefficients.